time for us.
As ever, we'll kick things off with the broadcast section, then we'll move into the embargo written section, if we can get the cameras off at that point, which we'll hold until 10:30 this evening. So great. So yeah, if we could kick things off, please, with Pete Stevenson, Sky Sports.
Sean, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Nice chilly day for you out training.
It is.
Can I just check? It's the start of a very busy period of games. How are you looking injury and fitness-wise as a squad?
Pretty good. We've got a few niggly ones, but should calm down. Joe Rodriguez, just a bit of tightness. Mateus Vidra, a bit of tightness, but they should be fine. Barnes is the only one. It's going to be a bit of time now because he's got a pretty decent, for want of a better word, tear in his thigh. So that's going to take a bit of time to calm down, I think. There's not a time limit on it, but it's certainly not going to be days. It's going to be weeks. So he's the only current one that's really out of action, so to speak.
You're up against a Spurs side who last night put in what many people felt was an embarrassing display, and their manager's been very critical as well. What do you make of their performance last night in Europe?
Well, at the end of the day, they've got to change again, quick change with managers. There's no two ways about the manager knowing his stuff. And to be honest, the players know their stuff. It's just sometimes you need the connection between what you're trying to achieve tactically, a change of culture, change of manager, and getting the best out of the players. But there's no doubt in my mind, there's still some very, very highly talented players there. I mean, that's a given for Tottenham sides over the last few years. The manager getting the best out of him, that's his job. His record suggests he will over time. I really hope he doesn't this weekend. That'd be helpful. They don't lack talent, that's for sure. We're going to have to be well aware of the strengths that they've got. But equally, we're on a nice little run of performances. I've said that most of the season, actually, but certainly recently. We look a threat. We can score goals at the moment. We're defending pretty well. I mean, a couple of soft ones in the last game, but fair play to Palace, for getting them moments. But so, we still focus on ourselves, but we are aware that, change of manager, change of culture at Tottenham. So that may take time. Like I said, it'd be helpful if it does take time because we play them very quickly.
Is it a double-edged sword? Because in a way that they've, as you say, quick turnaround, they've got to get back home, they've got to get back up into Lancashire for Sunday, and yet there'll be a lot of players perhaps with a point to prove.
Yeah, I mean, that's for them to decide. If their players feel there's a point to prove, if their players feel energised or de-energised, that's for them to worry about. That's not for me. I just know Tottenham have historically a very strong outfit. So we've got to be ready. We will be. I like the kind of way that we're operating at the minute. We've got a couple of losses, not injuries, but obviously with Turkey and Westy, who have been very good players and will continue for us to be so. But we still believe in the squad here, and I've said that all season. We've got a stronger squad, I believe, than what we've had when it's fully fit. And like I said, mostly, apart from them two suspensions of Barnsley, we have been fully fit a lot better this season than last season. That being said, we've got to obviously get more wins, and that's quite apparent. But the performance levels have been good. So we definitely have to look at our performance as much as worrying or overthinking anyone else's.
A nice little unbeaten run, as you say, but is the slight frustration, you've got 6 draws already, is that down to game management?
No, not really. Often it's been down to taking chances, not about managing the game, more about the chances that we've created and we haven't taken. We're looking more of a threat over the last couple of weeks and probably 4 or 5 games, that's for sure. But no, early season, we were actually playing pretty well, as I felt, and as I said. The balance has to be right at both ends, and I think we've tidied that up a little bit. But I still think we can, offer more of a threat in the attacking third. But we are doing that, so it is coming. We've got to defend well as well, especially in the Premier League, because they're very strong teams you're playing against.
We're seeing Dwight, or talking to Dwight in a couple of hours' time. He's been around the first team squad now for about, 3.5 years, 22 this week. How much of a bonus is it for him? Because he's obviously been seen as one of your main areas of creativity, but now Maxwell's involved as well. Is that helping Dwight? Has that taken a bit of weight off his shoulders?
I mean, look, we want all the players to be creative. Johan, we know he's got that. Westy can be creative in different ways from set-piece situations, but also some of his passing range, and it comes in different ways. But obviously, Maxwell has helped with that. That's quite apparent. Dwight can play a number of positions, and we think he can be creative. But he's still relatively young, really, and he plays a lot of football. People forget that. There's only young players out there playing nowhere near the amounts of football he plays, and he's becoming a very, very rounded, very good player. Possibly, I understand your point. If Maxwell's kind of just giving the team a different edge in a different way, that maybe sort of opens up the other players a little bit. So we'll see over time. But Max had a really strong start. We all know that. It's still early days for Max to keep getting hold of the Premier League, keep learning about the Premier League. But he's certainly doing a good job so far. And he's been really good to be around, and I think the players have enjoyed that as well. It's not just his performances around the training ground, the manner which he goes about it. I think the players have enjoyed that as well.
How surprised have you been at how quickly he's settled in? Because a lot of players from abroad seem to take a while.
Yeah, you're never sure. He's certainly adapted very quickly. Fair play to him, because it's not easy, cultural shifts in life, and he's getting on with things. His partner's got good English. He assures me better than his English, so I suppose that's helpful. But his English is improving. But no, look, you never know these things. It's not completely new territory for us. Obviously, we've seen before and the likes, and slightly differently with Johan, and then they've been here a couple of seasons already. But for Maxwell to come straight in from the on and deliver is pleasing for us, of course, but pleasing for him. So when he come in here, we haven't overcoached, we haven't got too much involved. Then it's the first things first. Take your time, enjoy what we offer here, and get used to the players and get used to what you do. So he's taken that on quite obviously and delivering very nicely for us.
So his English is getting better. What about your French?
Fantastic. Del Boy French, petit pois, and all that. So that's about my limit.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Paul Walker, PLP.
Hi, Sean. A bit more on Maxwell, and it's a similar question to what's been asked before about how he might have improved or affected Dwight McNeil's performance. But do you think that he's lightened the load on Chris Wood a little as well?
I wasn't particularly thinking there was a load on Chris Wood, to be honest. But if there was on the outside looking in, possibly, not from me, there wasn't. I want all the strikers scoring. I want all the attacking players scoring. Ideally, the perfect scenario is goals all over the pitch, to be honest, wherever they're coming from. But if he's come in and accidentally lifted any thoughts from the outside of other players, then that's a bonus, obviously. But it's not part of the plan. We just want him to enjoy his football, deliver, affect the team in a positive manner, and that's what he's doing.
And they complement each other really well, don't they? You must be really happy with how they've dovetailed.
Yeah, so far it's worked reasonably well. There's still things that could go better. He's still getting used to the pressing lines of what we try and do in the Premier League, and that was on show against Palace. We didn't press the first half, second half we did, and press very well. We want to do that. We want to take the games on, but he'll continue to learn and adapt to us in the Premier League, like I've said all along. He's definitely. You can see his fitness levels getting stronger. That's for sure. Premier League fitness, as I call it, I was maintained a very fit lad. But the point is, the Premier League fitness it's a different level. It's a different sharpness and a mental sharpness as well. And around and about that though, it's not just him. There's a lot of good performances lately. I've been pleased with a number of players actually, their individual performances and the collective performance.
You scored first in a lot of games this season. I'm sure you're aware of that. But only won one, obviously. What needs to happen in order to garner more points from those situations, do you feel? Just
the details. I'm obsessed with it. Games often change from sometimes a slip, sometimes a decision, doing all the right things all the time consistently for 96, 97 minutes, however long it's played. That's what it is. That's what we have to do anyway, to get on the right side of the margins. As some of the Super teams can have a quiet day, with the margins and the details and still win. We often have to get all of the details right throughout our whole performance. And when we do that, we know that we can certainly be very competitive in the division.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. No worries. And we'll move on to Rory Boyle from Radio Lancs. No Dangel this week.
No Beardy.
No Beardy. Fire away, Rory. Oh, we're not getting any sound.
Let's go.
Let's go to Mark Walker just while Rory sorts out his sound. PA.
Where are we going?
I'm here. Hello.
Hiya.
Sean, can I just ask you for your view on the regulation of football and the plans that could possibly be introduced?
What plans? I don't know the plans you're talking about.
The government are looking at backing ways of governing football.
I haven't read up enough on it, to be honest.
Plans for a regulator?
Sorry?
Tracy Crouch?
Sorry.
You had a view?
No, I'm not. I haven't been gemmed up on what the subject matter is.
Another question, Mark.
I'm okay for now, thanks.
Cool. Thank you. Alex James, thanks live.
Hi, Sean. Can you hear us okay?
I can.
I just missed the very, very start of this. Was there an update in terms of timescales for Ashley Barnes? And is Dale Stephens sort of ready to come back into the thinking, or might he need a few more minutes somewhere along the line?
Barnes is, I was just saying, it's not days, it'll be weeks more than days, because he's got a pretty not deadly serious, but a pretty serious thigh injury. So he's got to be careful. He's settling down very, very well, actually, and he's pleased with it, and the physio team are pleased with it. And then, sorry, you're asking about
just Dale Stephens.
Oh, Dale, sorry, yes. Dale's going on well. He's feeling good. We're starting to be a little bit careful with the loading phase of football, day to day. But no, he's going very well. I still think he needs a bit more. He's been out a long time. He played 90 just the other day there, and you still see just needs a bit more time, I think. And I think he knows he needs a bit more time. But it's good to see him back and around the group and training fully and playing fully.
Just obviously looking ahead to Sunday, it's the start of a pretty busy period over the winter. Is it a defining period of the season, given I think there's 9 matches between now and January the 2nd, so things can obviously change quickly?
Not really defining. All parts of the season are interesting and important. I've never really worried too much about this part and that part. At the end of the day, points are points. You've got to get them on the board. If you get them early, great. If you don't, you have to work hard to get them. If it comes in the middle stage, the end stage, whatever way you look at it, every part of the season is important. You don't go into a season wanting a soft start like we've had. You go into it wanting to hit the ground running and get loads of points on the board as quickly as possible. So yeah, every part of the Premier League season is important, no matter who you're playing, home or away. It's important to have the right frame of mind, which we have, I believe. You
touched on the sort of deeper squad you've managed to build over the last transfer window, and obviously you're going to need that with the fixtures coming as fast as they do, and also with Westy and Taki being suspended. So that must be pleasing for you that you've got options to look at and evaluate and alter as you see fit.
Yeah, the whole point of a squad is for that reason. If you do get these challenges, the Christmas period is slightly better for us in the sense of a bit of rest this year, because normally it's very condensed, and especially over that 2 or 3 games. But we've got a little bit of a gap between them, so that's probably a little bit more beneficial than we've had in previous seasons. But it is the old favourites, the change in the weather. Although nowadays, to be honest, the idea of heavy pitching, that doesn't happen anymore. The Desso pitches, they're more or less the same all year round. But yeah, the schedule definitely will have to be looked at. But the players are, they're well versed in it, these players, and I believe that the squad is in a good shape when it's fit. And like I say, at the minute, other than obviously the 2 suspensions, but you know what I mean, they're not long term, then we're in pretty good shape for that. So we go into it, hopefully, I believe, in good shape mentally and physically. It'd be brilliant to get another result against Tottenham, quite obviously, and a nice little run we've been on.
And just quickly on Connor Roberts, who obviously arrived in the summer, how difficult is it for a player such as him who's come to you guys and had an injury, and then seen the player in his position in Matt Layton do really, really well? How difficult is that for him, and how do you sort of have to manage Connor in terms of sort of assessing when he might be ready for a shot at the first team?
It's just an ongoing assessment of all players. It's not just about Connor. We look at all the players all the time. How are they feeling? Where are they at? What's their performance levels? But if you're looking back at our history here, I think we've done well with the timing of players' development. You look at, just a few, but you look at Popey, you look at Taki, all waiting their time to go into the first team. You look at Michael Keane, I suppose, in and out the first team and around it. These are players who develop really, really well over time. And I think that's important. But he's a very good player, and he's improved from what we do, in my belief. And his day will come as long as he keeps working hard.
And I guess he's got to understand that, trust the process a little bit, and trust the history of what you were just talking about there, that when opportunities do come and people are performing well to keep the shirt, you tend to let them keep the shirt, don't you? You don't chop and change for the sake of it.
Well, I've always believed in earning the right, and players have to do that for starters. They have to play in a way, in a fashion for themselves, of course, and for the team to make sure they're delivered. And when they're doing that, they almost gain the shirt because of the right reasons. The challenge for anyone who's not is waiting and keeping professional, and delivering performances to try and get that chance. There's also a little bit of respect here. Built over respect, a respect for the players and the way we work over a long period. And Bardo's a fantastic pro. Matt Loughton's playing well at the moment. He can sometimes get little soft periods, but he's playing well at the moment. Connor will be well aware of that, and he's come in. He's only been here a few months. He's still learning. As you guys said, he came in. He was injured, so he's had to get over that. He's done a great job of that. Very fit lad. And I think generally he's just waiting for the chance. And he'll be working for the chance, rightly so.
I'm presuming there wouldn't be any sort of school of thought towards a loan move in January in a similar way to what you've done with Bailey Peacock Farrell to give him game time and match minutes, perhaps more pertinently with Connor because of his international ambitions with Wales having such a key period over the next 12 months.
No.
Nice one. I knew that would be a one-word answer, Sean. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
There we go, Rory. Yeah, we can now.
Right, that's good. Hello, Sean. Sorry for that.
That's all right, no worries.
Just on the thing you said before about you being on a nice run and scoring goals, is it a slightly different Burnley than certainly earlier in the season and previously that you are a bit more free scoring and your team's adapted to it?
No, I think I've sort of said over the last few weeks, actually, I think statistically we've had a stronger beginning of the season, particularly with the quality of chance. I must clarify that, the quality of chance created. Well, if you keep doing that, I have said all along, you will score goals, and we're just showing a better sign of it, and still plenty of work to be done. But no, all season we've been making chances. I like that because you've got to be in there to score the chances. It's my only question with my players. I don't question if they miss. Purely as long as they're getting in the right areas to score chances, to create chances, that's what we want from the team. We've been doing that. So there's a belief that you will score goals. We are beginning to show stronger signs of that. As I said, it's a work in progress. It's not a done deal. You're going to have to keep pushing and keep working as a team, not just individuals, to go and create enough chances. The stats start paying you back. If you create enough chances, enough efforts on goal, enough efforts on target, then you will score goals. And that's what we've got to maintain our belief in.
And a takeaway from your team at the moment is your ability to come from behind in games, which you have done in the past couple. I suppose that resilience is a quality which is, you're proud of, I suppose.
Well, it's a quality that's needed in the Premier League. It's very difficult for a number of teams, and us included. There's a clutch of teams that probably are going to have some challenges over a season. We have ours. I think the mentality is steadfast. I think there's a belief in what we do. There has been for a long period of time, and there's also a calmness in what we do because of what comes from that belief after years of being in the Premier League and the understanding of myself and the staff and the players that what we can do and how competitive we can be. So. Underlying anything is a strong mentality towards any challenge that comes our way.
Just two more. The players have said throughout the season in these press conferences that the mood has been good throughout the season, even when it was a bit sticky at the start. Would you go along with that train of thought? And is that how you felt in the camp as well?
Yeah, I've insisted on it for a long time. I don't change my mood particularly win or lose. I believe in what we do. I want a good environment, a good working environment for the staff and the players here. And they deliver it. It's not just me. I often try and set the tone, but it's up to the staff and the players to take it on. And I think they do. I think they want a positive working environment. So we try and work in that manner, no matter what the challenge is. And I think that's an important factor for us over the season.
And apologies if you answered this when I was away, but you will be without James Tarkowski this weekend, won't you? He's got 5 bookings.
Yeah, and Wesley.
It's their faith for Nathan Collins then to come in at the back and with somebody filling for Westy as well in the middle of the midfield.
You'll have to wait and see.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, Rory. Okay, great. We'll move into the embargo section now. So just get cameras off, please.
Thanks for your time. Have a good weekend.